My husband suggested something so wild I never imagined, but that night changed everything. He wanted me to be intimate with 3 men, and to my surprise, I couldn't resist the idea. What happened next that night unfolded in ways none of us saw coming. I still remember the evening when everything changed. It was a sultry summer night, and I had just come home from work, exhausted from the day's demands. My husband, Aiden, was already sitting in the living room, a glass of whiskey in his hand, his eyes locked on me. That night, his demeanor was different. There was something in the air, something thick with anticipation. When I sat down next to him, I could feel his eyes on me, studying my every move. "How was work?" he asked, his voice unusually soft, almost seductive. I shrugged, letting out a tired sigh. "Same old, long and exhausting." But Aiden wasn't paying attention to my words. Instead, he placed his hand gently on my thigh. I was used to his affection, but tonight there was a different energy between us. His fingers trailed up my leg, and I turned to look at him, my heart racing. His eyes held a hunger, a desire that felt new and exciting. "I've been thinking," he began, leaning in closer, his voice barely a whisper, "about us, about what we need." His words sent a tremor through me, and I shifted uncomfortably in my seat, unsure of where this was going. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice trembling slightly. Aiden smiled, his hand moving higher, his breath warm against my ear. "I think we need something different, something to spice things up," he whispered. I swallowed hard, feeling a knot form in my stomach. "Spice things up," I repeated, unsure of what he meant. He nodded, his lips brushing against my neck. "I want to see you with other men," he whispered, his words sending shockwaves through my body. For a moment, I was speechless. My mind reeled from what he had just said. I pulled back, searching his face for any sign of hesitation or regret. But all I saw was desire, raw and unfiltered. "You want to see me with other men?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Aiden nodded, his eyes dark with lust. "Yes, but not just any man. I want you to be with 3 strong, handsome black men. I want to see you lose yourself in their arms, feel their touch, and experience something new. Something wild." My mind raced with a million thoughts. I had never imagined anything like this, never even considered that Aiden would entertain the idea of sharing me with other men. But as I looked into his eyes, I saw the excitement there, the thrill of the forbidden, and strangely, a part of me felt intrigued by the idea, curious about what it would feel like to be desired by men other than my husband, to be touched by their hands, kissed by their lips. I shifted uncomfortably, my body betraying me as a wave of heat washed over me. "I don't know, Aiden," I stammered, unsure of how to respond. Aiden reached for my hand, squeezing it gently. "I know it sounds crazy, but I promise you it'll be incredible. You'll love it, and I'll be right there, watching you, admiring you. There's nothing to be afraid of." His words washed over me, and I found myself considering the possibility. Could I really do this? Could I really be with 3 other men while my husband watched? The idea felt so taboo, so wrong, but at the same time, it ignited a spark deep inside me, one I hadn't felt in a long time. I looked into Aiden's eyes, searching for any sign of hesitation, but all I found was unwavering confidence. He wanted this. He wanted me to do this, and the thought of pleasing him, of giving him what he wanted, sent a rush of adrenaline through me. "Okay," I whispered, barely recognizing my own voice. "I'll do it." Aiden's eyes lit up with excitement, and he leaned in to kiss me. His lips were soft and warm against mine. "You won't regret this," he promised, his voice filled with anticipation. The days leading up to the night Aiden had planned were filled with a strange mix of excitement and nerves. Every time I thought about what was coming, My stomach fluttered with a mixture of anxiety and desire. I tried to push the thoughts away, tried to focus on my usual routine, but the anticipation was always there, lingering in the back of my mind, teasing me with the possibilities of what was to come. And then, finally, the night arrived. Aiden had arranged everything. The men he had chosen were already at the hotel when we arrived, waiting for us. As we walked into the room, my palms were sweaty with nerves, but as soon as I saw them, all three of them standing there with confident smiles on their faces, something inside me shifted. They were tall, muscular, their dark skin gleaming in the soft light of the room. Each one of them exuded power and strength, and I could feel their eyes on me, undressing me with their gazes. My breath caught in my throat as I stood there, suddenly feeling exposed and vulnerable, but also strangely empowered. Aiden stood beside me, his hand on the small of my back, guiding me forward. "Don't be shy," he whispered in my ear, his voice laced with excitement. "This is for you. I want you to enjoy it." I glanced up at him, my heart racing, and saw the hunger in his eyes. He wanted this. He wanted to see me with these men, and as nervous as I was, I couldn't deny that a part of me wanted it too. Slowly, I took a step forward, my body trembling with anticipation. The men watched me, their eyes dark with desire, and as I moved closer to them, I could feel the tension in the room thickening. I was standing at the edge of something new, something exhilarating, and I was ready to dive in. The first man reached out his hand, brushing against my arm, sending a jolt of electricity through my body. His touch was firm yet gentle, and I found myself leaning into him, my breath hitching as his fingers trailed up my arm. His eyes met mine, and I could see the desire there, the raw, unfiltered need that matched my own. Before I knew it, his lips were on mine, soft and warm. His kiss was gentle at first but grew more insistent as he pulled me closer. My heart raced as I melted into him, his strong arms wrapping around me, holding me tight. I could feel the heat radiating from his body, his muscles flexing beneath my hands as I ran them over his chest. Behind me, I could feel Aiden watching, his eyes burning into my skin. I glanced over my shoulder, catching his gaze, and the look on his face sent a rush of excitement through me. He wanted this. He wanted to see me like this, wanted to watch me lose myself in the arms of another man. The second man stepped forward, his hands sliding around my waist as he pressed his body against mine from behind. I could feel the heat of his breath on my neck, his lips brushing against my skin as he kissed me softly. My body trembled with desire, my mind spinning with the intensity of it all. I had never felt anything like this before, this overwhelming sensation of being desired, of being wanted by not just one man, but three. It was intoxicating, and I could feel myself getting lost in it, my body responding to their every touch, every kiss. Aiden's voice broke through the haze of desire that had clouded my mind. "You're beautiful," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I love seeing you like this." His words sent a surge of confidence through me, and I turned my attention back to the men in front of me. Their touches became more insistent as the three of them drew closer, their bodies surrounding me, and I could feel the heat radiating off them, engulfing me in a warmth I hadn't realized I craved. My breath quickened as their hands explored my body. Each touch sent a new ripple of sensation through me. There was a strange sense of empowerment knowing I was the center of their attention, the object of their desire. The man in front of me pressed his hand to the small of my back, pulling me closer until our bodies were flush against each other. I could feel every inch of him, hard and ready, his breath coming out in hot, ragged bursts against my cheek as he leaned in to kiss me again. This time, the kiss wasn't gentle. It was fierce, hungry, like he was starving for me. His tongue parted my lips, deepening the kiss, and I could feel the need in his touch, the way his hands gripped my hips as if he couldn't get enough. Behind me, the second man's hand slid up my sides, his fingers tracing the curve of my waist before moving higher, cupping my breasts through the thin fabric of my dress. His touch was firm, commanding, and I gasped as his thumbs brushed over my nipples, sending a jolt of pleasure straight to my core. I could feel the tension building inside me, a tight coil of desire that was winding tighter with every second. Aiden was still there, watching everything unfold. His presence grounded me, even as I felt myself slipping into the intoxicating pull of the moment.